Okay, guys and girls, let's do this. The one-to-one polymorphic relationship. So we'll say here 1-to-1 polymorphic. Gosh, that's hard to spell, right? Copy that. We'll go new file, one-to-one polymorphic.view. Nice. We'll create a template there for that. And we'll just have a div here just to test things out. One-to-one poly. All right, we go back to app.view, scroll down and import the component. And I have to go / there. Come down here, whack it in there, save it, yarn serve. And once that's up and running, we can test and see that our new component is working. There we go, control click this. And it is one-to-one poly. We're all set to explore one-to-one polymorphic relationships. So as we discussed in the previous video, we're going to use images. So we'll create a new file here called image.js. Actually, instead of creating a new file, let's just duplicate this one. Duplicate image.js. And then we can get rid of a lot of this stuff. Change that to images. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of those two there. Change this to image. And then this class is pretty much ready to go. All right, so we're going to have an ID. And we're going to need a URL to show that image. So we'll say this.attribute null by default. You should be getting pretty used to this stuff now. Now we're going to need an imageable ID like we discussed in the previous video. And this is going to be the ID of the thing that is able to relate to this image. And as per usual, this attribute, set it to null by default, copy that down, and we'll need an imageable type as well. So just a quick refresher, the imageable type could be something like users, and that would mean that this is related to a user, and the imageable ID might be, for example, 4. And then it'll find a user with the ID of 4, and that's what this image will be related to. And that's how the one-to-one polymorphic relationship is formed. All right, so that's the image class. Now we want to be able to relate this image to a post or a user. So let's go ahead and create the post class. In fact, let's just duplicate this, change that to post. All right, because our image is going to be relatable to a post. There we go. Come down here. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of both of those. And a post is going to have a title. And that'll be this.attribute once again. Once again, we'll set that to null by default. Awesome. And now we want a way to create the one-to-one relationship between this post and this image. And in order to do that, we say image is equal to this.morph1. And then we're going to pass in the image class. So I'm going to import that. And there we go. And how do we form this relationship? Well, we're going to need the imageable ID and the imageable type. So what we're saying here is, hey, post, if you want to grab your image, then you're going to use the image class. And in order to find the right image, we're going to look at the imageable ID field, okay, which needs to match this post ID, and the imageable type field, which will need to equal posts in this case, all right? So this is the entity name, and this is just the ID of the post. Now we're going to have the exact same relationship on the user class as well. In fact, I think we can just copy paste that directly. So let's go to the user class, paste it in there. Yeah, so everything is the exact same. We're saying, hey, this has a polymorphic relationship with an image, and the way it finds that image is with this user's ID, and the imageable type will be the entity name, which is users. All right, cool. We will now need to register the image and the post class. So let's jump into the store here. Copy that down twice. This one will be image. This one will be post. Scroll up. Copy this down twice. That's going to be image. And that's going to be post. There we go. So they should be registered and ready to go. Let's just refresh the page and check the console to make sure we've got no errors. And we do have an error. Expected a string key for entity, but found undefined. Oh, and I would say that's because if we go to user, we actually didn't import image. So let's go up here and make sure that's actually been imported. Copy that down. Image. There we go. Save that. Refresh the page. There we go. So it looks like those relationships are now up and ready to go. So let's insert some data and give this a test. So if we dive into the one-to-one polymorphic component, we should be able to say created. And when this is created, we will insert some data. So we'll have to import here the user. We'll also need the image, and we'll also need the post. There we go. So those should all be imported now. Now let's go ahead and insert some data. We'll say user.insert object, and let's give that some data. And we'll give it an array just in case we want more than one user. And this user is going to have a name of Luke. We should give them an ID of work as well. So let's give it an ID of 27. All right. And now we're going to give them an image. So this is where the magic happens. So we can just throw the image straight in there, give it a URL, and let's just look up Luke Diebold, see if we can find an image of me. Images, there I am, crazy dude. Can I just go copy image address? I think that'll work. So now let's just whack that straight in, see if it works. Save it. And I think that's pretty much everything. So now what this is going to do is it's going to say, okay, we're inserting a user here. And we know that when we're inserting a image, it's going to need the ID of 27. So this is automatically going to create an image with an imageable ID of 27 and an imageable type of users, because this is a user being inserted. All right, so let's save that. We'll come down here and we'll create a computed property that's going to return the user. And we'll say return user.query. And we'll get that with the image. And then we'll just say get on that. Oh, actually, we're going to have to say find, and the ID is 27. And now let's see if we can actually have a look at that user. We'll say h2, and in there we will smack in the user.name. So let's save that. Check that it's working. Yep, there we go. We've got my name. And let's see if we can get the actual image as well. So we'll say image. Man, I haven't done this in HTML in so long, but I think it's source, and the source for that will be user.url. I literally haven't written this code in like months where you insert an image on the page. So let's refresh that. Oh, and we have to say user.image.url. All right, save that. And there we go, it's working. It's not a very nice photo, but at least it shows you that it's working. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can do this with a post as well. So now we're going to grab all of that, paste it down here, but instead of a user, we'll insert a post this time. And the post can have a title of awesome post, and let's give it an ID of 34. And let's search for a new image. How about flowers? Flowers are pretty. Let's get a nice picture of some flowers. Here we go. And we'll grab the image address from there. And now we'll grab all of this and just paste that in there. All right. So let's save that now. And if we come down here, we can create another computed property saying post. And in order to get that, let's just remember its ID. Its ID is 34. So we'll say here post.query. We want that with the image, and we want to find the ID of 34. So grab the post with an ID of 34, give me its image, save that, and we'll scroll up here and change it from user to post just to check that it works with a post as well. Can I read property name of undefined? That's because this needs to be title. And actually, from memory, I don't think I was returning this. Yeah, so we actually have to say return there. My bad. I bet you caught that. And there we go. Awesome post. And there's the picture of the flowers. So this image type can have a one-to-one relationship with either a post or a user, which is really cool. And actually, the inverse is true as well. So we can say, hey, image, can you actually find what you belong to? All right. So we can actually say, image, I want you to find the post class that you belong to, or the user class that you belong to. So let me show you exactly what I mean by that. If we go in here and we say relationships, and then we say imageable, all right, so I want to grab the thing that is able to be an image. So basically, I want to grab the thing that this image is related to. Now we can say this dot morph to, and then we'll put in the imageable ID and the imageable type. And now what this can do, this is really cool. What this image can do now is say, all right, here's my image ID and my image type. Let's find the thing that I belong to. All right, let me show you exactly how that works. We'll put a comma there, come back to one-to-one polymorphic, and now we'll say images. All right, and we'll say return image.all. All right, so let's just do that to begin with. Return all of the images, get rid of that, and we'll say v-4 equals image in images. And then we're going to get that image and spit out its URL. All right, and we're going to need the key. I always forget the key. Image.id. All right, scroll down, make sure I'm giving these images an ID. Let's give that one an ID of, I don't know, something random. 65. And then this image can have an ID of 22. There we go. So let's scroll down here. I think that's all right. Refresh the page. Yeah, and now we're getting all of those images spat out, which is really cool. But what if we want to find the thing that this image belongs to? All right, so in this case, this image belongs to the post. What if we want that image to actually find that post that it belongs to? Well, we can do that. So we start by changing all to query. We say with imageable. So basically I'm saying with the thing that was able to relate to this image. And then we say dot get, okay? So we're gonna grab all of those images. So we'll scroll up here now. And instead of spitting out this in an image file, let's go div. All right. And then we'll close that div off. We'll get rid of the source here for the image. All right, and now we can say image.imageable. Let me just wrap that in some mustaches like this. Save that. And there, as you can see, we're actually getting the thing that that image relates to, which is really cool. In fact, let me show you something cool you can do. You can say image.imageable.constructor, and that's going to grab us the class that created the imageable thing, the imageable object. Okay, so let's save that. All right, that doesn't give us really much to look at. And then we can say dot entity. And there we go. The first image belongs to a post and the second one belongs to a user. So that's really cool. We can look at the inverse of the relationship as well. All right, so you might need to watch this one a couple of times to understand it. This is a one-to-one polymorphic relationship. So basically what we've said, let me just scroll down here. An image can have one post, or an image can have one user, but we could also do other stuff. We could say an image can have one video, etc., etc., and we can go on and on and on. So this image can have a one-to-one relationship with absolutely anything at all, which is really, really cool. All right, so that's the one-to-one polymorphic relationship. Once again, watch this video as many times as you need to really understand the polymorphic relationship before we move on, because we're going to be looking at some more complex polymorphic relationships. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. See you in the next video.